young and successful, one of the youngest regional directors in the crypto space, good friends of mine. They have been in crypto for numerous cycles. They've been in crypto for 7 years. Due to their knowledge and experience in the space, they are now leading Amber MENA Group. If you don't know who Amber are, they are a digital asset enabled, fully fledged institution. They have more than $1 trillion in volume. Yes, trillion with a T. They support 150 countries, more than $5 billion worth of assets, and more than 1,000 institutional clients on the platform. Guys, tell us about your background. How did you get into crypto and what got you hooked in?
First of all, appreciate getting us on. Really excited to be here. A bit about my background. So I got involved in the space about 2015, purely from a speculative standpoint. We started accumulating ETH and Bitcoin. And I think, like with anything, when you get involved purely from a speculation standpoint, oftentimes that's when you get harmed the most, and that's exactly what happened to me. So I decided to take a step back and really understand all values or all aspects of the value chain before I got fully immersed in the space, and that's eventually what led me to my career in digital assets. So if I would think of the waves of adoption that have occurred over the last couple of years, I think of the first era, really pre-2015. You had a lot of coders, developers, programmers that got involved on this whole idea of decentralization. You fast forward to around 2015, early 2016, and that's when you saw the ICO boom. And that's when you got a lot of stakeholders getting involved purely from a speculation standpoint. And then you fast forward to around 2018, and that's when more serious investors got involved as well. And you could classify that era as more of an asset allocation era, where investors or stakeholders were dedicating a portion of their assets towards digital assets. And if you think of the present time we are in right now, you really think about the real world tangible utility that's being built on the blockchain. And that's something that gets me really excited about the space. So for context, my background is in venture capital. I started my career at a generous VC shop in New York, focused on high growth tech companies all over the world. I then moved to a fintech focused B2B specialist, and most recently at a MENA-based VC fund. And that's what really got me hooked on the utility behind crypto. When I started approaching the space more from a venture perspective and less from a speculation perspective. And that's what essentially got me most excited. So maybe I'll leave it there. I'll pass it to Abdullah to give a background on himself as well.
Yeah, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here. And just building on what Aziz said. So back in 2015, 2016, we're accumulating ETH at sub $15, Bitcoin at sub $700, and we built a pretty decent book, right? And then, as anything that you don't fully comprehend the risks, and you take outside risks, you get greedy. We did the same thing, right? So we invested almost the entirety of our portfolio at the time into something that we didn't fully comprehend, right? And that's when we decided, okay, this is a time where we can learn, this is a time where we can take a step back, this is a time where we can reflect. And that's been very crucial to getting us where we are today and to getting us to be a part of Amber Group. So my background actually is an engineering background. I actually started off my career in engineering, and I was actually in engineering where I first understood the power of blockchain and how it could infiltrate information systems, the efficiency of blockchains, and everything about it. And I got very excited. At the same time, Aziz and I, we spun off a VC SPV, and we were deploying capital into high growth tech companies globally. And blockchain became a theme that we were becoming increasingly excited about. So at some point, I decided I wanted a career path. I wanted to leave engineering. I didn't know how exactly. So I decided to go back to school. So I got a degree in financial engineering from Columbia. And that's really the turning point for me because a lot of my alternative investment courses had blockchain embedded in the curriculum. So it was there where I started to meet some of the very relevant people in the space through that avenue, and that's where I decided to get into the space full time, to be fully immersed professionally in the space. So after my graduate program, I joined a blockchain hedge fund in the US, and that's really where I first met Amber Group, and that's what led me to where I am today.
Thanks for your input. It's crazy, like your 7 year journey in crypto, and how you went all in, and you had ETH around $15 and BTC around 800, and you went all in into an altcoin and got wrecked. So I guess when you get wrecked is there like where you learn the most, honestly. Tell us about Amber. Who are you guys? What makes you different? And I see you have a new consumer face product called WhaleFin. I think it's like a trading platform, and if I'm not mistaken, you're launching in the MENA region. And what makes you different from other tier one exchanges?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Amber is a leading global digital asset company. We have a presence in 16 cities. We have your full range of digital asset services from investing, financing, trading, and many more. So at Amber, we operate around the ethos that everything we do and hope to do contributes towards building a sustainable digital future. And what that means is we want to be a part of a financial ecosystem, and we want to help create a financial ecosystem that's progressive, inclusive, that's transparent and fair to all the stakeholders involved: investors, consumers, creators, everyone. Right. So part of the way we do that is by placing a heavy emphasis on our product releases. So currently we have the capabilities and the talent and the engineering expertise to roll out any feature that you see on any of the global platforms. The way we think of it is we think very extensively about how our products and our services will fare in the long term and its long term consequences before we release them to the public. So we care about being forward looking, about being visionary, about keeping up with the latest trends, developments. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that Amber Group remains a relevant, useful, and resilient platform that consumers can come to build wealth sustainably in the space over time, right? So presently, Amber has three primary business lines, and we serve a range of various market segments and participants. So we have our institutional offering, we have our retail offering, and then we have our metaverse-based new venture, right? That's called Openverse, and we aim at helping encourage the creator economy. So at the heart of our business is at the heart of our consumer-facing business actually is our consumer-facing app called WhaleFin, which Yusuf touched upon. We are the sponsors for Chelsea on the sleeve, Atletico Madrid on the chest, and that's really our flagship digital asset platform. And we aim at giving investors, mainstream investors, institutional grade tools to help build wealth in the digital era. So a part of our global expansion, what we've done is we surveyed the market, we've done extensive research on the local market, and we felt that there is a big gap that needed to be bridged in terms of being competitive from fee structures and from capital efficiency, right? So as part of our localized platform of WhaleFin, we're going to be building, infrastructure for efficient on and off ramping, and we're going to help bridge the gap between traditional finance and crypto finance. And one of the differentiators that we have is our fee structure, and the way that we're able to have such tight spreads and no fees because of the business model that we operate. So unlike local exchanges and various different players in the space, we are not a agency-based exchange. We are actually a broker-dealer and execution model. So we don't route order flow anywhere for execution. We execute in-house. What that means is we don't get charged fees for routing order flow anywhere, and as such, we don't return any fees to our customers. So customers can come trade spot with us for no fees, and the spreads that we have are competitive with any of the global spreads that you see. Part of the reason is because, as our underlying business is to aggregate liquidity from many different venues, we are connected to over 180 exchanges, or many types of DeFi protocols, and naturally we aggregate all of the tightest spreads from all of these liquidity venues, and we return them to our customers. Additionally, we quote at-risk prices, so customers can come and enjoy very tight spreads with us with no fees, right? And then it's a good point you bring about how we are competitive to some of the tier one exchanges and platforms, right? So I think with that fee structure, that's our primary competitiveness. We also have a product schedule, like I touched upon before, that fares out over the long term and helps people build sustainable wealth in this space. So whether it's principal protected structures, whether it's principal protected products, people come and build sustainable exposures to us, right? Beyond that, we have our exclusive WhaleFin Club offering, which is a 24/7, 365 concierge service. And that gives you access to market observations from our trading desk. It gives you market insights from our research team. And it really gives you the tools you need and the support you need to be successful in digital assets over the long term.
Well, that sounds amazing. And since 2014, like when we started crypto and my journey in crypto, I 42% of all exchanges either shut down or got hacked. So what makes WhaleFin different? Like, how do I know my funds are safe without being blown out or rug pulled, basically?
Yeah, that's actually a great point, right? So as you see with any other asset classes, there's going to be volatility. Crypto is no different, and from what we've seen, it's actually been a lot higher, right? And I think just to touch upon the anecdote we shared earlier about our previous experience in the space, investor education is of paramount importance, right? Users need to understand the nature of crypto, they need to understand the risks involved, and then the potential rewards, right? So with that said, we think our philosophy is very differentiated from others, right? So we try to actually not get people to look at candlesticks or to guess where the market's going, or to take outsized risk to try and turn products quickly. That's not our approach at Amber, right? Instead, we're focused, actually laser focused on building products and solutions that help retail customers and institutional customers alike to grow wealth sustainably over time, right? And that's really fundamentally why we've designed WhaleFin and our product offering. Really what we aim to do is and we are doing it, we are abstracting complexities you see in financial instruments, and we're creating tools that are easy for everyone to understand and to use, right? And that remains the core of what we do and the core of our offering. And we aim to minimize and remove leverage and risk in the space, right? So some of the products you'll see on our platform is customizable interest rate savings, unleveraged structured products, fixed term deposits. And all these are like guiding principles that we built into the architecture of WhaleFin. And it really helps in building wealth sustainably over time, right? Beyond that, we have considerable investment into security, right? We have one of the leading white hat hackers in the space that allows us to and ensures that our platform is always resilient, tested, battle tested, and that's actually what allowed us to get our global insurance of up to $160 million on the platform.
So we saw this year, we saw many funds, hedge funds, exchanges literally blew up, and which caused a big cascade, like a domino effect within the space. So did Amber get affected?
That's actually a great question, and that's actually where we feel that our brand has been differentiated, right? So recently, especially with market developments, what it's shown us how correlated the space is, right? Especially in distressed environments, you see correlations increasing significantly, right? So this is not only relevant to crypto markets, but equity markets as well, right? And thanks to growing institutional interest and inflow of capital from institutions to the market in recent years, it's actually something that excites us, right? And it simply points to the fact that the crypto ecosystem is maturing, is becoming more relevant, and digital assets are beginning to be recognized as a legitimate asset class, right? And with any asset class, there's going to be volatility in crypto assets, right? There's going to be volatility. There's going to be disciplined and undisciplined actors. There are going to be platforms that are managed correctly, that are conscious about risk, right, that have appropriate controls in place, and there's going to be people who don't, right? So with that said, we're pleased and very proud to confirm that we have had zero risk exposure to any of the market participants who appear to be facing solvency issues or have been insolvent, right? And that's a matter of the principles that we embed, right? So as a matter of principle, we've actually never engaged in any business that involves underwriting credit risk of borrowers, and we don't have any plans to do so in the future, right? So because we have complementary business lines, we're actually able to generate returns in two-way markets. For example, we're an active market maker, one of the largest. We provide liquidity in underlying crypto markets, and we make money off bid offer spread. That said, we naturally benefit in periods of high volatility, and you've seen in the recent months that has been no different, right? So I think something that needs to be clarified, and this is where there's, I think perhaps a big misconception, is that all borrowers are also lenders and vice versa, right? This isn't the case. We're actually a net borrower, but not a net lender, right? So as a borrower, funding our market making operations allows us to scale our balance sheet. It allows us to, to not be exposed to any underlying market movements. It allows us to remain market neutral, right? And it allows us to be capital efficient, right? Unlike some of the firms that you've mentioned, we don't, we make it a point, and we never rehypothecate assets in any unsecured credit deals, right? So Amber has never engaged in unsecured, uncollateralized lending, and that's why you'll never see our name in any of the 3AC, Celsior, or Voyager creditor documents. It's because we've never been involved in that business to begin with, right? So I think the important thing to take out of it is that the growth that we've experienced in recent years have actually put us in a very strong position to be able to withstand the volatilities in the global market, right? And just to give you some context on the scale of our operations, Amber's cumulative transaction volume surpassed $1 trillion this year. Our assets on platform surpassed $5 billion since inception. And our growth is not predicated on credit lending. Our growth is predicated on building trust with our investors and our consumers, and by building a strong, resilient platform that consumers can come to for anything in the digital asset economy.
Well, that sounds amazing. So I recently joined WhaleFin as a user, and I've been using your product. So basically, we saw many platforms throughout the year provide like high APY for, let's say, USD. We saw, for example, USD for Terra Luna, and we saw these very attractive high yields. So how does Amber, or let's say WhaleFin, guarantee or sustain those yields?
That's an excellent question, and I think Abdullah touched on it really well. We are here at Amber and WhaleFin looking to allow our users to create wealth sustainably. We're focused on building those products and solutions that really help attract our customers for the long term. At the heart of our offering, we want to minimize and remove risk and leverage, and our products are designed to build and offer a stable single-digit yield that retail investors can use and spend at their convenience. And this is markedly different from the wild price swings people usually associate crypto with. Oftentimes, if in the space, if the yield looks too good to be true, then it probably is, and it's we caution users to really understand where that yield is generated, how it's generated, and trust the platform that's essentially marketing those yields. We have complementary business lines that allow us to create the yields we generate to our investors in a sustainable way through essentially our quant desk. And at the heart of it, we always put up controls and risk processes to ensure market neutrality and no underwritten credit risk exposure, as Abdullah touched upon. We've always had a high emphasis on compliance and regulation, and our emphasis is focused on delivering best-in-class services to our clients, but at the same time putting safety and compliance and investor protection as our number one priority.
So that's amazing to hear, especially that a company like WhaleFin that is launching in Bahrain, and especially like in the MENA region, having those services that is not offered. Even like I don't see many platforms offering these services. So, and we're close to the finale. I just like to know, like, what could you give advice for retail participants, like something from your experience? So, for like a person that's been in crypto for many years, we saw and experienced multiple cycles. What is, like, let's say, the best advice you can give the average Joe that is entering the space?
For sure, for sure. I think, as the concept of wealth changes and mainstream adoption of digital asset really takes place, there's a need for retail participants and investors to essentially rethink the way that they build wealth in a future that is increasingly digital. Right? We don't advocate heavy speculation or high use of leverage, and rather want our customers to be able to generate wealth more long term, focused on risk management and generate yield in a sustainable and attractive fashion. We recommend our stakeholders or clients to essentially start with the blue chips, the major ones like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which have market validation. And we always recommend users to do their own research and choose trustworthy platforms to begin with, such as Cryptoflation, which releases really amazing content. That's really the advice we would give participants.
And let's finish off with our final question. Where do you see the market going? That's the number one question.
Yeah, I think really I think of it in a few folds, right? I think as the ecosystem becomes increasingly more sophisticated and mature, we're at a critical juncture in the development of the crypto market. And it's a prime opportunity for players like us to really forge a more connected and inclusive ecosystem. And we think at the heart of it is regulation. And that's really the final piece of the puzzle in order to safeguard investors and their assets and ultimately minimize volatility and impact on markets. We're seeing more traditional financial institutions embracing crypto. They're becoming cognizant of the crypto assets, and not only as a future of finance, but they are part of the reality of the financial ecosystem that we live in right now. When digital assets emerged in 2013, there were less than 900,000 global users and 66 coins. Today, digital assets encompass more than 77 million users and over 6,000 coins. And we've seen in recent months a wide variety of blockchain applications in traditional finance, from payments to smart contracts, really giving credence to the foundation of the crypto asset industry and its part as a regulated financial ecosystem. And we think that crypto finance is here to stay, and the sooner that everyone frames their approach to crypto finance this way, the easier it will be for all ecosystem players, including regulators and institutional players, to collectively support its development for the long run.
No, that's amazing. We're gonna have like 10 minutes for people to come and ask anything in the AMA session, and as well, we are gonna have a special giveaway. We're gonna have a giveaway to one of the users that's listening in, and we're gonna send a WhaleFin. So WhaleFin it's gonna launch in Bahrain or MENA very soon. Is your website live? Could MENA participants sign up now?
So our global platform is available, right? We're gonna be having our localized platform very soon, but currently, users can come and check us out on our website or on our app, WhaleFin.
Amazing. We're gonna post a link in our platforms, and make sure to sign up. And anybody that has a question, let me bring on people.
سؤال إنه ليش الريتيل بيروحون يستخدمون Amber instead of other exchange؟ يعني شنو الادفانتج اللي Amber Group gives for retail؟
So just to clarify, WhaleFin is the product where Amber is the parent company. Abdullah, why would somebody use WhaleFin instead of any other local exchange?
That's actually a great question, right? I would categorize it into various reasons. One, I would say, we have a very competitive fee structure, right? So if you're trading spot with us, there's essentially no fees because we don't route order flow, right? Because of the way we operate our business model, we don't get charged fees and we don't pass fees along to our customers, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is spreads are very tight with us. So fees are not hidden in spreads, and you can be much more efficient when you transact with us. Then I would say comes to the product schedule and the product releases. For example, one of the things that we aim to encourage, and that's at the core of WhaleFin, is to help people build wealth sustainably. The product schedules that we release echo that. So, for example, a lot of our products are principal protected. Yeah, and if you come and tie up your principal, we have very structured products where on the upside you can participate in market trend. On the downside, your capital is still protected. So you're still protected, but you can experience outsized returns as well, right? Another thing I would say is our fixed term deposits, which customers globally find very attractive and very sustainable, right? So people can come, pledge, subscribe to our earn product, whether fixed or floating, and they can get a percentage return annually, semi-annually, and they can customize their tenure, right? So, for example, if you own Bitcoin and you want to earn cash off Bitcoin, you can come and subscribe to our Earn platform, and we'll pay you an attractive yield. The same goes for stable coins or cash, right? So the product schedule, I think, is very differentiated. The fixed term deposits are very differentiated, and then the fee structures are highly competitive globally.
So we have one question that's from our Discord chat saying, since your business model makes zero fees from spot trading, how do you guys make profit?
So the way we operate our business is, one, we don't charge transaction fees, right? So we like to think that we are engaged with a customer throughout the life cycle of their digital asset investing journey, right? So if you come trade spot with us, there may not be any there will not be any transaction fees. If you subscribe to other products as you get more comfortable in the space, then we start to monetize, right? That's natural. But we like to think that we are giving the infrastructure, the support needed to help you build comfort into the space. And only then do you start to take positions and subscribe to products that are more market determined. And that's really where we have the ability to monetize.
Amazing. We have another guest, AJ. Yalla.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Yeah, I just have I need some information actually from based on your experience and through that you are heavily involved into the business. How do you see the markets in GCC? I mean, based on that you have already establishing now a company or business within the region. Based on the regulations, we see that it's being changed, and we see that there is a kind of a competitions now between GCC countries. So based on your overview, can you shed some overview how is the regulations are being shaped in GCC, and how it is? How do you look into this market in general?
Yeah, for sure. That's an excellent question. I'd say that in the GCC, we're seeing a lot of regulation that really supports digital assets, and many different jurisdictions and many different countries are developing framework that is essentially industry leading in digital adoption and crypto adoption. And we're seeing this in places like Bahrain, places like the UAE, essentially framework that's really top of class is coming about regionally. And what this done is it's essentially attracted a lot of international blockchain companies to come set up in the region. So it's something we're definitely very excited on, and something that we see as a very strong point for the region.
And just to build upon that, it's actually one thing that excites us most and excites many global players most is the approach that the regulators are taking. So they're moving less towards a rule-based regulatory approach, and they're going towards a principle-based approach. So how do we protect the end users, right? Can we operate a business model within that confines, right? And one of the things that regulators have been excited about with our offering is we actually, we have 12 regulatory licenses in global jurisdictions. Our global practice is, of utmost stringency, right? So we naturally comply with global regulators and local regulators alike, right? And that's actually been one of the reasons that we've been able to be efficient and to expand globally very efficiently.
Can I ask another questions or that's at the end?
Yeah, I can go for one more.
Yeah, it's just an advice because I know many now new generations are more trying to get into the industry, not from a trading point, but I mean into involving within the industry. And we see lots of programs, courses are being advertised for, but still, I mean, as it's something new within the region, any advice from you for the new generations how to get into the business or into this industry?
That's a great question. I would start by reading Cryptoflation research reports, right? That's definitely something very interesting. But beyond just research, I think it's important to really do diligence on who you're using, on where that research comes from, on the experience that research comes from as well, right? So, we post our own educational material. Many of the platforms post educational material, and it's important before taking an investment, before getting into the industry, to one look at history, look at what's been battle tested, what's been resilient, which platforms have research that's worth reading, right? Which platforms just want to engage users, right? So I think it's important to understand who the relevant people in the space are and who are building sustainable things in the space and what they have to say about it, right? So I would really start there. And then if you have any questions, we have local offices. Cryptoflation is a great resource as well. And just read as much as you can. Reading is a great resource, and especially from the global platform.
Abdullah Aziz, thank you very much for your time. Hope you enjoy the session and as for the users. And we will definitely have more talk soon.
Really, really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it. And you know where to find us. Anything you need, just reach out.